חסדים ומכל האמת.
I remember walking through the halls of Ner Tamid the first time I came here and seeing all the plaques on the wall, plaques dating back to the beginning of the century, the beginning of the last century actually, hearing about all the past stories of Ner Tamid and how vibrant of a community it was and how it was really the heart of the Greenspring area. And on the one hand, that could be intimidating, but at the same time, it really gave me a sense of history and a sense of purpose. And I'm a firm believer that, history doesn't just go and fall off a cliff. History has to go and build towards something.
We are in the study of Rabbi Herschel Leibowitz of the Ner Tamid Greenspring Valley Synagogue.
This congregation was formed in 1955. It was first formed in the club cellar. Mr. and Mrs. Gross. They had just several high holiday meals. I came in 1958, August of 1958.
We got married in 1957, and right after that we joined the shul because David's parents belonged to the shul. David's father was president of the shul for 13 years. He was the second president of the shul, and there was no one who didn't adore him. He saw to everything that had to be done in the shul, and I think he single-handedly, for the first 25 years of the shul's existence, really made it run and be what it is today. We were just totally involved in the shul. The shul was our life. My life is completely entwined from the day that we moved into this neighborhood to today. It's completely entwined in the synagogue. I would like to say to people that are here now, continue. You have begun a new era in our shul. All the young people that are here now, continue and stay involved and make it your life, just as we, the Greenfeld family and my family, the Hellman family, made this shul our lives.
Rabbi Leibowitz came, and he took right to our congregation. He taught Bible class. He had loads of lectures. His lectures were wonderful. You never fell asleep in shul on Saturday, his sermons. He knew everybody's name, their first name. When he would see you, he knew your first name. The sisterhood, when I came in, it was a lovely bunch of women. They were all active, and we didn't have a building. So every affair we had to raise money to build the shul. Our sisterhood donor was beautiful. That was the culmination of our year. And I was very fortunate that while I was president, my Uncle Jerry and Aunt Bee, chair, were honored. I was a chair. It was a big family, and my Uncle Jerry was the baby. And he's still going strong, and he still tries to come to the shul. But he loved the shul, always did love Torah. And he was an architect, and he was responsible for building this new chapel inside the shul. The first 10 years of my life, I didn't know anything else but the Orthodox shul. It had everything in it. Everything was the shul, and it still is, really. I mean, I'm a widow now, but I still have wonderful friends that I made along the way, and we talk about it all the time, about everything that we did and how great it was. They were good years.
Rabbi Leibowitz was, shall we say, famous or notorious for long sermons. His typical one would be 25, 30 minutes, and often, more than once, went close to an hour for the sermon. He was quite the speaker. I know that was one of the things that I used to do as a child, if I was here, was be to time him how long this week. You know, he would, before saying the Kiddush to have everybody go out, he also gave a benediction that was in English and would be. It was always the same 3 or 4 sentences. It wasn't that. I mean, there were different ones, but there were only like 3 different ones that he would rotate through. I do recall one of them. It was, "He who called every generation from the beginning, seek the people that seeketh thee," and then he would go into the Kiddush.
Came to Ner Tamid congregation officially in the summer of 1986. However, like everything else in rabbinic memory, nothing is ever straightforward, because the truth of the matter is that once I had interviewed and been chosen as the successor to Rabbi Leibowitz, the synagogue really had requested that I take up the position immediately thereafter, which would have been close to February, March of the same year. The position that I had been chosen to fill was such that I seemed to be given a certain level of carte blanche to go ahead and do the things I wanted to do, to at the same time continue open communication with Rabbi Leibowitz, getting and receiving as much input as I could from him, so that I could form a picture of the kind of congregation I was coming into, which in many ways reflected the kind of congregation I was coming from. And under the lay leadership, they were willing to give me the flexibility to be the person I wanted to be, instead of having to be forced to follow after an individual whose reputation had already stamped itself within the community at large.
I'm a member of the synagogue for 44 years. Well, first year when I came here, there was no synagogue nowhere, no places, absolutely nothing, not Stiebler. It was the only synagogue was Greenspring Valley Synagogue. It wasn't even called Ner Tamid at that time. And when they discovered me here, the first year they made me a gabbai. It was very nice. The second year, they promoted me to blow the shofar already. And I did that for 35 years. And a year later, I became a member of the board of directors. And then they promoted me to become vice president of the synagogue, excuse me. And I told them the only way I'm going to take the vice presidency, that I'm never going to be president. I don't want to be president of the shul, never. But God doesn't work like this. What happened, the president was Bernie Rosenthal. He got very, very sick, and he passed away. And I had to step in right away to be the next president of the shul. We had 600 members of the shul that time. For the high holidays, we put in here 1,200, 1,300 people, sometimes. And we had a Hebrew school with the principal, Leo Reich of blessed memory, 300 children. We always had tremendous programs with Rabbi Leibowitz, with Rabbi Lando, with Rabbi Motzen. Now we have so many, really. I can tell you, I don't have time to leave. All the programs that we got, it's going on in the shul. Thank God for that. What can I tell you? When, as I mentioned to you, I was president for 17 years. They didn't let me go. At my 10th anniversary, I received the National President's Award from the Union of Orthodox Jewish Congregations of America in Waldorf Astoria in New York. That is what Ner Tamid gave to me. And I really appreciate it. My family, everybody appreciated it. I never forget that my life. It's hanging on my wall in my house. And here I am. I'm going up and up, and now I'm the executive director of the shul.
The shul is very much dependent on the youth of the shul. How do you have a future if you don't have children? Many families come to the shul for the youth programs, and they come to the shul because they want somewhere for their children to feel safe, for their children to feel comfortable, and for them to feel like they're gaining in their Jewish world and their Jewish education, etc. And we try to provide that for as many ages as we're able. We have programs for children starting in 2 or 3 years old and going up to teenagers every Shabbat, every Saturday, and on holidays and during the weekdays, preparing us for the Jewish future, because these children someday will be our leaders.
It is such a wonderful shul. It was wonderful when I came to the shul, when it was my shul for me, but it's so incredible with the grandchildren, because they really do have the age-appropriate groups for children. They have so much caring. It's really a family. Singing in the shul, that now it's so, everyone's singing and clapping, and it's a happy shul. You should get more young people, and it should keep growing and go from strength to strength.
What we looked for a shul is comfort. We want it to feel like an extension of our home, and that's not always an easy thing, and Ner Tamid really brings that to you. It makes us feel extremely comfortable. Our children are comfortable here, and that's exactly what it is, an extension of our home, and our lives, our lives and the community at Ner Tamid are one, and we enjoy every aspect of it, and our children do. So we look forward to kind of growing with it.
There are different terms that we could use to describe a synagogue. There are different terms, and you go to different synagogues, they'll use different terms to describe them. There is the Beit Knesset model. It's a place of pure socialization. It's a place where people are coming together to talk and to congregate, to have Kiddush together. That's great. I'm all for that. There's another model, which is called a Beit Tefillah, which is a place of prayer. And not just prayer, but a place of growth. A place where people really want to connect spiritually to Judaism. They want to create a relationship with God. What I would like to create, and not even create, like I said before, really to fan the flames of, is a place where we're able to mix those two together. To be a Beit Knesset, to be a place where people are gathering, a place of socialization, all those different ages, all those different backgrounds, and also to be a Beit Tefillah, to be a place where every single person can find something that talks to them spiritually. Whether it's a Karbach minyan and dancing beautifully on a Friday night, whether it's a Saturday afternoon Navi class where people can learn a little bit more about their heritage, whether it's the Talmud classes, the Jewish philosophy classes, or the growth classes that we have together in more informal settings. There is a place here, Ner Tamid, which bridges together those two very different things, a hybrid of two different models of synagogue, and one, a Beit Knesset and Beit Tefillah. That's what we have over here. And me talking about it is almost a waste of time. You have to come here to see it, to see the different types of people connecting to different things, the people socializing, coming to Kiddush and coming to classes, all working in four walls. That's what we have over here, the Beit Knesset and Beit Tefillah.
קטונתי מכל החסדים ומכל